Hello and thank you very much for joining me today. This is a quick introduction video to the notion of social engagement for business growth. My name is JP, I'm with Digital Humani, and this is a re-recording of a presentation I gave in a digital marketing conference in May 2022, and might as well share it with the world if you couldn't be there. So, what is social engagement marketing? It's defined as the marketing strategy where you create a value proposition based on values and ethics that will appeal to your customers versus more than price, supply, demand, usual metrics. And the focus is to make a genuine connection, because the stronger the relationship is between your brand, your organization with your audience, the likelier they will come back, do more business with you, and refer people over to your organization. So it's a really interesting growth notion that's starting to get some attention, and it's also generational. So what do I mean by generational is that habits are changing. Is the younger generations right now are not looking at the universe as the previous generations did before them. So 75% millennials and Gen Zs will actually make a decision in favor of brands with social engagement strategies. And in fact, Gen Z, 63% of them will make a purchasing decision based on social cause presence. So that's a really interesting shift in the classical way of doing business. And news isn't always best. I have two kids, 19 and 22, and on a regular basis, I hear that, yeah, we can get that off this app, refurbished or secondhand or whatever. It'll be just as good, cheaper, and better for the environment. Okay, I'm game. So things are changing. Now, that being said, those generational buyers are also your current and future employees. So keep that on the back of your mind as we go through this content. So examples of organizations I was able to catalog to show what's being done out there at least a basic level. I'm not the world's greatest authority on this, far from it, but there's some brands here that I found which actually appealed to me as a person. The first one is Mountain Co-op, where I've spent a lot of money there because they have really good gear, and the way they supply, manufacture, source, their whole operation is really ethical, environmentally and socially. It's a really interesting organization to take a look at. Fairphone is a pioneer in repairable smartphones. Instead of spending hundreds of dollars in changing your screen when it dies because it gets smashed, you can simply order one affordably and replace it yourself. This is a bit of a game changer. iFixit is really good for those electronic products that you wish to repair yourself, but you have no way of getting there. They sell tools, parts, they have a lot of training, educational videos on how to do things. So you need to replace a part on your MacBook, as an example. Well, start there. You may be able to do it yourself in a really cool, smart way. Bell's a pioneer, Bell Canada, in mental health awareness and education in the workplace. It's a hard topic to tackle, and they've been doing this for a while, and it's not easy. I'm not saying that they've done the best possible work out there. They're pioneering, so it's good to look at what these guys are doing and what they've learned and how they've been able to help people on this, this emerging topic, really. Patagonia is this organization which will openly and actively fund things, and they're very famous for it from at least an environmental perspective. Tom's is one of my all-time favorites because when they started, they had a very different sharing model of profits. Now they're doing a third of profits for good, and when they launched, because they make shoes, I should clarify that, they would simply give a pair of shoes to a child in need for every pair that they sold. They got a lot of awareness. It went viral. They got a lot of customers, and they helped a lot of people in the process. Lush is, if you've never been in a shopping mall, you've never seen Lush, but if you've been in a shopping mall, you probably went there. My household loves this place, and their employees, when you talk to them and they talk about the products, they actually believe in what they're doing and what they're selling you, and the products are engineered in that way. It's a really interesting case model for retail. And last, Framework is an interesting new player in the laptop space because they make repairable, upgradable laptops without having everything soldered on the motherboard. So different take on the laptop, worth looking at. Now, okay, cool. How can you get into this kind of dialogue with your customers? If you're interested, of course. First and foremost, you have to define or redefine what your organization and brand stand for. So you need to have a bit of a soul searching moment and also look at your audiences and maybe find new audiences or shift audiences. It could be a good long-term type exploration project. So look at what your competitors are doing. I'm a big fan of understanding my competitors. I'm a big fan of understanding organizations which are successful. It's no rocket science grade statement, but take a hard look there and you'll find some really cool answers. And find something to fun which is significant, meaningful, which will move a part of society forward. We're all in this together. Might as well do something good for everybody. So digital humanity, like, okay, what are these guys doing? Why are they talking to me about this? So we're a global tech startup or a climate tech not-for-profit. We're globally distributed but headquartered in Montreal, Canada. And we're a 100% volunteer organization. We do reforestation as a service. So we bridge that gap between your apps, your websites, and all those tools and your customers should you wish to plant trees. So if you sell something, we can plant a tree at the cash register checkout type situation. That's very basic. I'll get into this later, but we bridge that gap. That was really hard to bridge before the guys came up with this stuff. And it works. It's really cool, and we get surprised at our customer successes every day, and I'm gonna dive into those kind of notions. So first and foremost, what did we learn? We've been doing this for 3-4 years now, and on average, management doesn't find us. It's the employees, and they care about where they work and their employers' impact on the world. So that's a really interesting take. The tech-focused community is really interested. So your software development teams, product engineering teams, etc., they are commonly the ones reaching out to us. We've learned that the more hooks we create, without getting technical here, easier we make it for our customers and the more trees we see planted. So friction removal is something that we firmly believe in. And it's been proven to us, and it works both for your customers and your employees. So we've been getting more noise about the employee part lately in the last 6 months. Why organizations do this is because they want to offset carbon or shipping or etc. that you will come up with your team with, and it's a really good value-based discussion to have, and you'll be able to internally have situations where you can actually help on employee hirings and also employee retention if you actually show up with those values. A couple of success stories I like to explain, which are really cool. The Hoodie, if you've never seen them in your social media feeds, they make oversized hoodies. It's that simple, and they have one which they've designed by purpose to have a value-based item, the I Love Plants one. Well, they order 100 to 200 trees per day off their website for all their global operations, and they have a secondary values-based program, the Good in Hood, and they don't. I'm expecting them to not stop there. They're a really forward-thinking, interesting organization. I recommend you check them out if you need an example. Also, from a different angle, Movinga out of Europe is a moving company which moves people's businesses when they move, say, to Paris, to Berlin. And to offset the carbon cost of that move, they will plant trees. And we see them plant more than 5,000 trees a month. And it's been a really good relationship. And we've helped them accomplish their mission. And it's been really positive. So it's one of those creative places that the customer found a usage and they came to us. We get surprised by those scenarios almost every week. Speaking of scenarios, here's some common scenarios that you can leverage with digital humanity, but you can also transplant with other causes. But we're using planting trees because that's what we do, but feel free to substitute. Transactional action, so sell, upsell, cross-sell, abandoned carts, promotions, seasonality, etc. It's a real good place to add something to the relationship, just like when you go to the cash register and you can give $2 to a not-for-profit charity type organization. Email database growth. Email marketing is really powerful, and if you grow it really well, it'll pay back multiple fold. And if for every added contact you add, you can plant a tree and to thank them, right? Leave a review, plant a tree. Cancel a service, please tell us why, we'll plant a tree. And those kind of relationships are really engaging, as well as employee rewards, team rewards, whatever will work within the organization. Some individuals will prefer to have trees planted than a day off. So it's whatever works, we're there to help. Now, in which kind of systems can you use this? The easy one is e-commerce because it's the obvious one, but also we can work within your apps. I have an example later, and we can also help do some campaigns, launches, etc. to gain awareness and a bit of virality. And it can be done internally and externally. So if you launch an external product, for every product we sell in the next 90 days, we'll plant 10 trees, or whatever your scenario may be. But internally, if you meet milestones for this new product launch or internal project, whatever, plant trees. You'll see some different vibe happening in your organization. And please be creative. Don't be shy. So these are some of our customers which use reforestation as a service. The Bijou is a hotel, so the traditional reservation plant tree type relationship. Intruder is that our first organization which came to us to understand why their customers are canceling, and if they talk about why they're canceling the service, they'll plant trees. DZ is multi-dwelling unit building management, like condos, apartments, and all those kind of organizations. Daniela Lehavi is a fashion brand, again, more of an e-commerce play. Inaya and Ticker are in the financial space. Stream Heroes is in gaming, streaming, and those type of environments. Movinga, we mentioned. And Teslab, for every time that they find a EV charging station for an electric vehicle, they offer their customers to plant a tree. So they add that as part of the relationship within their iOS or an Android app. So if you found this interesting and you think that you can start applying those notions to your organization, what's next? Hey, plant trees, please, we're right here to help. But there's more than us. Before you do that, you may want to look at your carbon costs and your transaction costs from a carbon perspective. And Neutral does a really good carbon calculator. They're one of our partners. And if you don't want to plant trees, which is absolutely fine, we still like you. B Corporation has this environmentally and socially responsible certification program type architecture that they can certify your organization. So I highly recommend you take a look there for some inspiration and some programs. And the 1% for the planet is a classic one, but it's a really good one. Also, Patagonia and Nature's Path are three good examples of they'll give 1% of the revenue for specific items onto something for the planet. So it's easy, it's out there, and whether you know it or not, if you consume those brands, well, you've contributed yourself. So that's it for me in a nutshell. Please reach out if you have any questions or want to engage. If you have any technical questions, I'm not the guy. I would love to, but I'm not the guy. info@digitalhumanity.com will be able to help you out. Thank you again for staying for the whole duration of this video, and have a great day.